Hello, nice to see you all. I'm talking to my mates here with me on the Zoom meeting, and hello to everyone who's joining us. So my name is Zalewska. I'm a creative producer at Papaya Young Directors, and here with me today are some experts on vertical content creation, Gosia Nierodzińska and Roberto, a creative strategist from Facebook.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hello.
And my teammate and content creator, Roberto Cura, who, by the way, got headhunted for the Papaya Young Directors team after taking part in the competition.
Number 6, right? PYD 6.
Yeah, it was 6th edition.
It was a good edition.
So at this edition, Roberto did music video, but right now he's more into vertical stories and vertical content. And for starters, we're gonna share some of his work.
Okay, so I'll start sharing now.
Yes.
I'm glad that you, Roberto, converted to vertical.
Yes, of course, straight away.
So I just add that we're meeting here today to talk about vertical content because of the vertical stories category that Facebook's partnering Papaya Young Directors. Yeah, and this is Roberto's stories.
Okay, so let's play Roberto's story.
What is better, this or that? Any questions? Here's your chance. Ask away. How would you rate this thing? I have something important to tell you. Hi. But above all, be authentic. So, where are we going today? Love that jacket. Honestly, I'd love to have that jacket.
So yeah, this was basically me and a group of people deciding what the top 5 things necessary or help make a vertical content quite engaging. And we have the several things. As we started off, shoot vertically because it's on a phone, so we want the same format. We want to use the whole format. And there was a little gag there with things on the side, which a lot of the time is quite applicable because a lot of the vertical formats are quite tight, so you can just go in on a person. You don't really have to clean up around, so that always comes in handy. You can write instead of say. Most people don't. A lot of people don't put the audio on, so it comes in handy just to write the things that you're saying, so that people who are in the bus, car, who don't really have time to listen can also read. There's the engagement, which is very important. Also, it brings you closer to your audience, and it's always fun to find out how to get them engaged and how to talk straight towards them. And you can use all the boxes and stuff, and that's always fun. And then interacting with them after. Holding on to attention, that was an interesting one. It's where you start something, but then after there's all the space in between. So you have to fill it in with something until you get to the information at the end. Or you can put the information at the end, but you have to try and, if the video itself is 15 seconds, it has to make sense that it's 15 seconds long. So you have to try and build a whole story around it so that they take you all the way to the end. And above all, at the end, I said to be authentic, and I stick by that. And being authentic is something that helps a lot. And
in life,
it's my number one tool in making videos. I smile and authentic.
So basically, Roberto just summed up what we're gonna tell you after this little introduction, because we could just stop here, but we won't. So a little more words about why we're here and why vertical, Gosia and Robert, because Roberto told us how to do vertical, but why?
Okay, so if you don't mind, Gosia, I can take it.
Please.
Thank you. Why vertical? Simply, more and more people is looking for that kind of content. Right now, Facebook has more or less 2.5 billion of active users, and more than 90% of them are mobile users. Yeah, so if you think Facebook, Instagram, you think not desktop, but you think mobile. And also, as far as we know, that more than 65% of mobile users are not keen to turn the mobile, yeah, and watch it horizontally, even though the content is it's so easy. We know they are holding those smartphones vertically, and for that reason it's good that they watch content and films vertically, yeah. And at the same time, the distance, yeah, when you expose films on mobile screen and when it's horizontal, it takes only like a little piece of this, so it's more it make more sense to have vertical to have content like a shot vertically, yeah, taking into considerations like that this audience is keeping growing day by day. It's make only sense to change the routine. I don't want to say that there is no space, there is no room for horizontal, but this is like a time also to start producing vertical content. That's
To use the full screen, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosia, do you have anything to add?
I mean, Robert said it all. It's good to use the full screen. If we have the space of the full mobile screen, why not use it? And we know that people don't turn their phones from vertical to horizontal. So yeah, it's just common sense. Yeah, it's better to use the full screen and go vertical. So this is a vertical category in Papaya Young Directors. It's a second tier of vertical category, which is made in cooperation with us, with Facebook. And this year, we have two subcategories to this vertical category. And one subcategory is the same as last year, which is branded stories, which are films made for brands such as McDonald's, DPD, Durex, etc. And these are vertical videos for brands, so ad videos, yeah, commercials. And a new category, which we established this year, is called Women's Stories. And Women's Stories is a vertical category, but it's not an ad category per se, because here we have 3 NGOs, which were so kind to write briefs this year for our young directors. And if you are applying for the women's category, you will be advertising an NGO. So one of the 3 NGOs that are collaborating with us. And all of these NGOs are connected to women's rights and to women's issues. That's why the category is called Women's Stories. It doesn't mean that the director needs to be a woman. You can identify however you like and apply for this category. So please do.
Yes, and those NGOs that Gosia mentioned are Cucinate, Women's Refugee Collective from Tel Aviv, Camera Femina, and Cosmos for Girls. So there are 3 different organizations who take care of women different ways. So definitely, like, given the shout, check their briefs and take a stand in an important cause. And right now we're gonna go through not to NGOs inspirations, but generally vertical stories. And I wanted to add to what Gosia and Robert said before, that obviously vertical for phone and for smartphone screens, but right now more and more there is more and more space on the streets that are serving us vertical adverts as well. So it can go out from your phone to the streets as well. So it's not only for the phone, whereas obviously there is a bigger audience, the biggest audience you can get, because it goes worldwide and actually unlimited audience for you. But also there are more and more spaces for you to get acquainted with the vertical format outside on the streets. So, Robert wanted to add something.
If I can add,
Sure.
because not only on the screen, recently even device producers like Samsung, for instance, they launched vertical devices, because that's because they realize that there is this trend, and more people are open to watch that kind of a content.
Yes, and Samsung is our sponsor as well for this year. So if you want to mix vertical with Samsung, you can. So let's go through some inspirations, and we'll talk about why they're inspiring and why they work in vertical format.
So we'll start with a video that won last year in the branded stories category. It's a video made by Jakub Skitek and Katarzyna Jarecka, and it was made for Durex. So I'll play it, and then maybe we'll chat a little bit why we thought it's the best. Okay, so that's the winner from last year. Congrats again, guys, from DDB. And it's entitled Tight Frame. And I think that the title says everything. Yeah, I don't know if you agree, Robert, Anna, and Roberto, but tight frame is what the idea is about. Yeah. So
I do agree.
Restriction of the vertical format, and they use it as a benefit. Yeah. For the product, because the product here is Durex Comfort XXL, so it's never too tight. Yeah. And the fun is never spoiled because Durex can never be too tight. I think it's brilliant and a really simple, technical, I would say, idea.
But also it becomes a bit more. It becomes a bit more to video, but also like an experience. Because when you hold it, you want to relive the satisfaction of holding this monitor that's also kind of reacting towards you, because you're holding the frame, you're holding the whole thing, and the things are happening simultaneously while you're holding it and also watching it. So you're not just passively watching it, but you're kind of experiencing the whole thing.
Yeah, you don't have this idea that you're missing something because everything is in there. And there is a nice insight about this idea because as Gosia said, Kasia and her mate are the creatives from the agency. So they were still coming with this coming back topic that the frame is tight, and everybody was not happy about it because this is too tight. You can show nothing in it. So they chose to just use this to their advantage.
And it's often like this, that something that constrains us, it's also a starting point for being creative. And maybe actually we can show some more ideas because Kuba and Kasia are not the only ones who had this idea to use the tight frame and the borders of the vertical frame. Here is an example of a campaign with Ewa Chodakowska, where she's using a frame to practice and to do whatever she does. I'm not a fitness person. What do you call this?
Handstand crunches.
Exercising.
Yeah, I even know, but I can't remember.
Crunches?
It's really hard.
Okay, and one more example of how the tight frame is used. This one is a little bit different for FedEx. And here also the brief was answered really well because this brief was for small businesses. No matter what is the size of your business, you can get fast shipping by FedEx. So here the frame is also connected with the size of the business, yeah, which is small. It's really nice, no? It's an old example, but I still like watching.
It's a nice mixture between like artificial AR augmented reality, but in your hand, because the augmented reality adds on stuff, but this is a device that kind of suddenly reacts in a different way. So the vertical videos will just tend to be, if you use the frame quite well, it tends to be very satisfying, and you wish to repeatedly watch it, and not just to experience the story, but to experience the whole aura of what happened.
Yeah, it's something that you can watch over and over again, and still have pleasure.
Yeah, the pleasure is something really important here. Yeah, like that people are on mobile. People watch this kind of a content, vertical content on mobile just for fun. Yeah, so it's pretty important to make them having fun watching our ads. Yeah, to be surprised a bit, like in those cases, they are smartly playing with the format, with the framing. Yeah, so that's the way to go, definitely.
The logo and all the things like second. The experience is the first thing that you have to create, and then on top, underneath that, you add on a logo. But this, you have to create the experience first, and so not throw an advert straight away.
And another creative way, and maybe also pleasurable way of using vertical format. I really like this video because it's ironic towards vertical format, just like Kasia's and Kuba's film. Again, it's using the restrictions of a vertical format in a fun and engaging way, I think.
What's that?
Starburst was. It's like Starburst, but vertical.
It's so vertical.
Vertical. Best enjoyed vertically. Reverse swirlers.
And a nice connection with the product. Yeah, the product is vertical, so the video is vertical as well, long and vertical.
Fresh, fun, unexpected, and I think that this unexpected can be also like a key word to remember when you think about creative work for this format.
And I think this is the example from the few years back, right, Gosia? So this was the time where everybody was so pissed that they need to do something vertically. Right now it's more common to do stuff originally vertical, but like those few years back, it was just like, why should I do something for the social media as well, right?
There are a lot of parody songs on the internet about say no to vertical, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. I know this parody. And another example of tight frame, and here they used the frame for one frame is for one influencer, and I think that this example is not only about tight frame but also about using, I don't like the word using, but using the influencers and how you can play with the influencers in an engaging, again, fun way and unexpected. And the product is front and center, because we have Havaiana shoe being
thrown between frame.
Thrown from frame to frame, So you have everything, You have unexpected way of filming, influencers, the use of influencers in a fun and engaging way, and the product always in the center,
So as you can see, maybe we will also tackle this point later, but as you can see, there is no like a linear story, in those films. If there is, for instance, like in this Durex, it's pretty short.
Here there is no story, there is just a gimmick. But you can tell a story with this as well. Now you can use this gimmick to tell a story. I can imagine that you throw a shoe to another person, and this person puts the shoe on and runs away, and you have a story. So we are showing you some gimmicks and some ideas, but of course we are asking you guys, you are the creative ones, the new talent, to take these ideas and to make stories and present your stories using these gimmicks.
Immediately I see.
But also these gimmicks are also in some way experiences, right? As there's something to be told. There's relationship between the people, so it's also a different way of telling a story, I guess. A new way. In these gimmicks, we're still creating experiences.
Yeah, and it shows the way that you can be obvious but still interesting.
Yeah, but it's really easy way to turn this like a beginning into some story. Yeah, I can imagine immediately that there is like a 4 friends playing with this object, and then the thieves appear to add some drama to this to start the plot.
Tell a love story with this as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Cinderella.
Cinderella, yeah.
Yeah, as well.
Hawaiianella. And another gimmick that is often used, which you can take and use it for your own, is breaking the fourth wall. So breaking the glass that's in front of your eyes, the glass of a screen. And here is an example by Renault. Where the typography is kind of incorporated in the video, yeah, and it's sculptural. But when I was watching this on my mobile, you know, it's a reaction. It's like an animalistic reaction. My head just went like, okay, being afraid that the car will punch my nose.
Yeah, like in the train enters the station, right? So we're back in the 30s.
Yeah. I think that you again you tackled quite important topic, Gosia. I think that this typography and motion design, it's really important part of that kind of a storytelling. Yeah, because also we have to tell the story or deliver the message with sound on. Of course, it's better to delight people with when sound on, but anyway, some of people might watch this video without any sound. Yeah, so and we have
to remember,
and they still get all the information.
Yeah,
they still need to get information without the sound. This is very important. And again, you know, one more example about breaking the fourth wall. I think it's quite fun. It's even more fun because it's an ad for milk, and you would think as a creative, you know, what a boring thing to do, yeah, to create an ad for milk. But I think that Lactate did it brilliantly. And they played with some native elements of Instagram, like icons. And as you see, they use them in an unexpected way. And here, super boring benefits of milk, but presented in a way that's just entertaining him.
Yeah, it's like you don't notice the icons before they just become the hero of the image, because they just there somewhere. But then when the guy is interacting with them, you just start to, you know, notice that they were there all the time. And yeah, it makes you come back to the videos. I was thinking about this with the Renault advert, that you may not notice what was there at the beginning if it just comes up on your screen, but then when the car crashes the letters, you just want to come back and see what was written over there.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is clever way to deliver the message, definitely.
Now repeat the same thing, but the experience makes it very satisfying. So you want to watch it just for the sake of experiencing it. Yeah. Like it's an advert, so you get the information at the back, but the person who's picking up doesn't have to think of it as an advert. It's just using it as some sort of experience, which is quite interesting.
Okay, and another brilliant basic, as we like to call it at Facebook, is the 1 second rule. And the first second rule is about catching attention, grabbing attention from the very beginning of your video. And there are some gimmicks, again, which are working and are being often used. And one of these gimmicks is zoom in or zoom out. In this case, it's a zoom out. And it's just a product here. Yeah? You just are presenting a product, which in this case is a bag by a Portuguese brand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's enjoyable to watch, yeah?
Yeah.
Very simple, but it draws in, no?
Yeah, if I can add like one important thing, because again, if your video, if your film will be exposed to the people on mobile, they won't be like looking for your film. Yeah, so your first goal, I could say like this, would be to stop them from scrolling. Yeah, so you have to grab the attention at the beginning. Yeah, of course, it doesn't mean most of this kind of films, because attention span is pretty short on mobile. Like, this is average, it could be less than 3 seconds. Of course, it doesn't mean that the longer content, longer films are not watched. Yes, they are, but this is only if you start your film in a proper way, which means if you will have like a thumb stopping, we call this thumb stopping effect, something which has this power to stop someone from scrolling, and then dive into the story you would like to tell them.
I've seen sometimes videos who start so strongly that even though for the next 10, 15 seconds, 20, nothing happens, I was so convinced by the beginning that I just watch it to the end and nothing's happening. But I was so convinced by the beginning of it that something exciting must happen because it was so strong in the opening.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But there are two ways here with the films that we're showing, because this is the first second rule and the loop, which is like really addictive, I would say, because you want to go into it and just
where does it end?
play it on repeat, right?
Yeah, and the previous example was a zoom out, and this is zoom in. So you can use both ways to kind of draw people in. And here, using a loop, it's also helpful, like GIF. Yeah, GIF is also a loop here. But this is maybe an example which is more relevant for the women's stories category. This is also catching your attention from the first seconds, and it's a zoom in. You are kind of drawn to the story, but in a different way than we saw before. So you are just following here the character, yeah, the main hero, and you want to know where this girl is running, yeah, or where this couple is running.
What's also great with these kind of videos, because since everything, our everyday life is filmed vertically, these kind of videos automatically make me think of like a memory or something. So I feel like I'm part of it. I've experienced it where I'm part of it because it's in the format which most of my memories are now placed. So
you feel like you're there, no? Yeah, that's also the power of social media, because we share Insta story all the time, and it feels very personal. In this case, it almost feels like you are there, like you are running behind these kids. Yeah.
Yeah, but you said, Gosia, that this would be relevant for women's stories, but I would say that all of the examples that we showed would be relevant, because taking on a social engaged issue is not that you need to be that serious with the content that you make, because the most important thing is to draw attention, as you said, and maybe of course it can't be too commercial probably. But drawing attention to the problem is the most important thing. So if you choose any of those devices and any of those possibilities that we show, it's good if it's still linked to the story and if it's still authentic, as Roberto would like to repeat over and over.
Experience, authentic.
In the women's stories, you don't have a product per se, yeah. So you don't have a pack of crisps, or you don't have a condom, or you don't have a burger, yeah. So in that sense, it's a little bit different because you don't play with the product. But of course, the zooming in, zooming out, this all can be used.
Yeah, for me, this kind of opening works because I'm immediately caught and I'm thinking what's going on. Yeah, is she running
away or running
exactly.
And this is my favorite point, interactivity.
Yes, this is very important, and I must say that missed it last year a little bit because I think none of the films that was made was using interactivity, which is a shame, because on Instagram, especially on Insta stories, you can use right now up to 10 stories, which you can promote. And this is just one of the examples how you could use the cards of the story to tell a story, yeah? To tell an engaging and interesting story, which you feel as a viewer that you have impact on, or you can impact. by tapping. So technically it just works, I'm sure everyone knows, but for some that don't, if you are tapping, you just get to another card, and another card is another 15 up to 15-second story film. So this gives you an impression of controlling the story. Yeah? Mm-hmm. If I tap, something happens. Yeah.
Do it for the gram.
It's quite cool, yeah? And the production is very simple. I think a video like this can be easily done within the competition for very little budget.
Mm-hmm. And this interactivity, if I may add something, it's the most distinctive way if we compare like content on mobile versus TV. Yeah, on TV the films we can only watch. On mobile we can interact with our audience. Yes, so we can create like a different plots of the same story, and so there is like a more room for playing and for fun, for creativity.
So and this also can be used for arts and for social causes as well.
Yeah.
Just to explain the mechanics, this campaign was made to just tap to the different sides of the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was always here the right side. Yeah, it was always going forward. So we're always tapping and going forward. There are some campaigns, like you are saying, Anna, where you are using both sides, but in this case, it's always forward. Yeah, so you always tap and you go to the next card, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Or even 11.
Yeah, this is just like a simple tool, and all the rest is all about talent, the idea, yeah, how you are, the way you are going to use this opportunity, because this is nothing more just opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Simple tools, but you can do a lot with it, right?
Yeah, I can share like one insight. For instance, I use this format to turn like a leftovers after the shoot into the interactive game. I made like a game out of stuff. Yeah, with of course with the help of additional motion design and so on. But it was built on this simple tool.
And you would just throw away the shots, but instead of throwing them away, you just recycled them.
Yeah. And for instance, there was like I add in this motion design like a loading part. So for instance, there was a message like tap to start the game, and when someone tapped, it started with this loading effect on the screen. Yeah, and then appeared something, and then there was like an option to choose this or choose this. So when someone clicked, no matter what was the choice, there was an additional unit with a next answer, yeah, and you can win or lose it because it was like earned randomly.
Gamifying the videos is also an interesting thing, and one more thing that you said, Robert, which will be reflected in this example, is adding illustration or adding typography on top of the video, like here. You tap one time and you are in a taxi.
Wanna go, better go. Push, please, take the heat. Hey, slow fast, man. Let's go.
Or you tap twice and you see the dancer. Yeah, so here then the interactivity is simpler. Yeah? It's just 3 cards of the story. When you tap once, you are somewhere, in this case in a taxi. When you tap twice, you're on the street and you are seeing the dancers. But what I love about this example is how the art direction is made here. Yeah, it looks really just handwritten, very loose, but it works perfectly, I think.
It matches the footage, because the footage looks like something that any of us could make sometime during the day, because it looks like our trip with taxi, it looks like our walk through the streets. And it's just this little ads at the beginning that you just hear them swipe up top, and then you just wake up and know that that is something that's made especially for the Instagram viewing, right?
And
it looks very organic. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is great because sometimes this like a well polished, like a well crafted content works well, and sometimes this organic, very raw look also helps. Yeah, so there's like a no one rule. In fact, yeah, it's always good to play, test, learn, try different approaches, be creative, simply.
And if we are into interactivity, this is like the high-end example of how we can use interactivity. And this was an ad campaign for a condom brand from South America. And they did a TV series, Instagram series, which was told in stories. And depending on what people decided, they used poll stickers. So, for example, the question was, should she go to the dance floor or should she go to the kitchen, the main character? And depending on what people chose, the next story was happening either in the kitchen or on the dance floor. Yeah? So this is something that you can also use. You can play with polling stickers and with this type of interactivity.
And I don't know if it's somewhere after that example, but we had something not very similar, but quite like social game, which was 2 for You by McDonald's, right, Gosia? You were engaged in this campaign, and this was something that was made to engage people offline to like get together and like make a story together.
Yeah, this one was a bit more complicated example because it was using side flicks in Messenger. So I didn't put it in this time, but the mechanic is similar. Yeah, that you ask people to interact with your art, yeah, or with your content, which I will say again, we were missing a bit in the last year's edition. So please use interactivity this year in the way that hasn't been used before, ideally. So this was about interactivity, and one more thing we wanted to mention is the inspiration, because sometimes the best ideas come actually from the users of Instagram, of Facebook, of TikTok, of YouTube, etc. If you are doing platform-specific content, the best way to start is to just see how people are using these platforms and what they are doing on these platforms. And this is just one of the examples by Adidas. When the lockdown started and they used real people and the way people were exercising during lockdown, and they turned this content into their campaign with the hashtag home team. I don't think that any copywriter would be able to make things like this up. Yeah. It needs to come from people, from real life.
So this was from the found footage, right? And then got licensed for the footage that they wanted to use?
I'm not sure how they did it practically, if it was found footage which they appropriated and paid for, or they recreated the footage. I think probably both.
But even me asking this question means that they did it right,
really well,
because we can't say that if it's real or if it was scripted. And this is something that's really important, that even if you script something, it doesn't have to show.
Yeah, if you use the real life inspiration and if you use the original people's ideas on how they use our platforms, then even if you recreate it with the actors, yeah, it can still have this original and organic look.
Yeah, it's all about the insight. So first you need to just figure out what is that is interesting and what people do, and then just turn it into your story, I would say. Because being observant is something that's really important for filmmakers in general, and especially if you want to make engaging content.
And to not be afraid to use your phone, for example, to film these things. Because if someone used a professional camera, then you could tell straight away that it was staged. But the fact it was someone's phone, because these are all content made on phone, you already accepted that it's real, authentic.
and not using the lights, not using the
Exactly,
stage lights.
professional.
I think it's all a power of this particular idea. Not to every idea it fits, but for this one for sure.
Yeah, I think that this is quite important for whom this campaign was done. It's for Adidas. So we all know Adidas from this like a well-crafted communication. So there is like a clash in this, and this makes also this campaign powerful, I believe.
Also, it's nice because the people at the end of the day, the products are used on an everyday basis. So you don't need to pretend it's something bigger. It's just using your phone to show how you're using these products, how you're engaging with them, and how you're learning. The word learning.
To be authentic and close to your to your audience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and one more example, this time by McDonald's, because Anna, you mentioned McDonald's. And again, these are short films and they are produced with actors, but they look as if they were just shot on a phone by a colleague or a family member. And also this campaign is just fun to watch.
But summertime, summertime, some. Summertime, summertime, some, summertime, 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 some, summertime, 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 some, summertime, summertime.
Also, the usage of the music sticker is interesting here. Yeah, so the music sticker is sculptural. It interacts with the actors.
Whenever you're ready. Summertime, summertime, some, summertime, summertime, some. Summertime, some, summertime, summertime.
It doesn't look like McDonald's commercial, which is the power of this campaign, I think.
Whenever you're ready. Summertime, some.
This one.
It's summertime, summertime, some, summertime, summertime, some, summertime, some, summertime.
Yeah,
Do you
that
wanna
was funny.
Yeah, I think that being funny is really important in social media, to just make it loose and not so staged and not so proper, like on TV or in cinema. This is also a power of Insta stories.
And I also think that that it's pretty important to all those rules, know all those rules we mentioned here, but also not to close yourself for another solutions, because this is all about creativity and finding something new. All those tricks has been done, so why not to find something fresh, something else, taking into consideration that being entertaining, being unexpected, being fun, it's like the most important brilliant basic, I would say.
And I like this example as well, because somebody knew, because we all know that people loves to watch bloopers. So this is the knowledge that we all have. So why not creating a new stuff that is relevant to all of us, because all of us tripped sometime and all of us laughed at our friends tripping. So this is something that's really very human. Both from the idea point of view and as well as a viewer point of view.
And also nice brief, strategic wise, it's linked to the product. Summer is not always easy, so get yourself a burger to feel better, to feel happier. So this is also very important, to always link your idea with the product and with the brief. This is a basic thing, but maybe it needs to be said that we as a jury, we also take this into consideration. The video does not only need to be fun to watch and unexpected and entertaining, but also it needs to be linked to what you are showing, and what's the product behind it, or the NGO behind it. Yeah.
And maybe I can add one more point here, because 70% of video is watched on the go if it comes to Facebook and obviously mobile, which means that people can be distracted, which means that our story we want to tell doesn't have to be complicated, or it's with this, what Gosia said a few seconds ago for McDonald's, it's fun, but at the same time, it's really easy to get. Yeah, the point. What this ad is all about? Who's the advertiser, and what is the message? What is the offer? Yeah, it's fun and
the offer is the happiness. Happiness by eating burger.
Summertime.
Some. Okay, and one more point that we wanted to make is that the story does not need to be linear. So unlike in cinema or in TV, where the story had beginning, middle, and the end, in social media and in short formats, you don't need to do it this way. You can play around with continuity and start from the end, or never get to the end. I'll show an example, and maybe then we can talk about it a bit more. So, Robert, do you want to say a little bit more about it?
And here it goes. Robert, the mic.
Okay, sorry. I was muted. What can I say here? Again, this is like a combination of it is kind of a linear story, but not this kind of a the one we know from TVC. Yeah, quite often we all know this classic TVC storytelling, when we have we start with something at the beginning, we don't know what's going on, yeah, and only at the end there is like a reveal, and then we say, wow. In this kind of in this kind of a vertical communication on mobile, it doesn't go well, because people would like to know from the beginning what this ad is all about, or at least expect to be sucked into the story, like from the first second. Yeah, so that's what I can say here.
I think that the way it's art directed and the video is just a collection of frames which are entertaining and unexpected, and they play with our perception. Yeah, so it has this depth of field where the typography is in the middle. So we have water or hair of this boy on top of the typography, which is very entertaining and it's fun to watch. But still, the copywriting here is quite linear, no? So the video is non-linear. It's just a collection of frames, but the copywriting tells a story, and it's still very, it's a linear copywriting, which is okay, and it still works. But it doesn't need to be like this. Yeah, we can turn it around as well.
Mm-hmm.
So most of our examples were scripted, and there are two that we wanted to show you that are more like real life based, because all is real life based because of the insights and because of the problems noticed. But these two examples are examples that show you that you can talk about real problems with real footage, more documentary or more even reportage style. And this is the footage from the RATS agency, which is the collective of photographers and video makers that are very engaged in the social issues and political issues. And they are still watching what is going on. And this is what real filmmakers should do as well. So be observant and keep watching what is going on around, because everything may be a great footage for you to cover a topic afterwards. So the first one is more of an emotional story about what happened and how it makes us feel. So Gosia, if you could just put it without sound, because this is important that even without the sound, this is very, very catchy, I would say, but very powerful as well, because the images and the mixed with the words included in it, it just shows all. It doesn't need to have sound, like the pictures. And this is really interesting because this is not like the video is made out of pictures, and it still makes this really make it really interesting. So there are the ways to build a powerful video message from still images. And I don't know if you saw this before, but this is really relevant to what is going on. So we're not going to go into it too much. But we've got Women's Month right now, so everything about women's is good to talk about. But what do you think about this usage? Because this is like more like still images made moving somehow. And how do you feel about preparing this kind of content?
I think it's more than okay to do something like this, yeah, to mix video with collage, with photographs and with typography. This is a more documentary way of telling a story. And I think that especially in the women's stories category, we are absolutely open to being a documentarian and showing more of the documentary film aesthetic. Why not? Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I can add only that again. This is not important if we are going to use and mix still images, because it's really easy to turn still images into video. Yeah? We can use like a parallax style, for instance. Yeah, we can do some movement, delicate movement. Yeah, we can play with depth, adding motion design. So it could be powerful, but it all starts with the idea, yeah, with the story. And I wouldn't be worried about like the way you're gonna tell the story. It can be told anyway, yeah. But what we are looking for, we are looking for some powerful story, of course, executed. The execution can be different way. It could be shot with phone. It could be based on photography, maybe some even stock footage. It could be shot camera. This is not important. It can be mixed. Yeah, I don't want to tell you like oh, you should do this or that. No, please treat all those our comments from this entire life, yeah, like directions, like you can pick some of them, you can remember them. There are like really important rules that, for instance, you have to grab this attention quickly. This is like a really important, but all the rest is all about the story, talent, and something.
It doesn't need to be a story as we know it. Yeah, that's also important. It needs to answer the brief, but it doesn't need to be, like we said, linear story from the beginning to an end. You can answer the brief without telling a story as we know it. Yeah.
But we can.
Of course you can. Yeah, of course you can. But you can use a technical gimmick. You can use all sorts of tricks that we showed to answer the brief. Yeah.
It can be CGI.
But it doesn't need to.
Yeah, but the next example shows that we can do linear, sorry, for my blah, blah language. But still interesting because, and still taken, the footage may be taken, I would say, in the norm of a horizontal way, but then after, with editing, you can do something that's really relevant to the audience that is watching it on the screens of their phones. And see the footage in a, like, they feel it like it's naturally for the phone and not for TV or the normal consumption, I would say, this word, because this is the more of a documentary style, which is more like real footage is just shot with the camera, but then how it's edited and how it's put together, it makes it more interesting for the telephone audience.
Yeah, that's really important what you said, Anna. I can just second that cutting the vertical screen, it makes it horizontal, yeah, because you can cut vertical screen into 2 pieces, you can cut it into three pieces, 4, 5, etc. And you can tell a story on top and on the bottom, or top, middle, and bottom, using different shots, which you can mix, yeah. And this is also how you make a non-linear story, yeah? Because you can, on top, you can have beginning of the story, then you can have in the middle shots from the end, and in the bottom typography, for example, yeah? So you can really play with this. And vertical screen doesn't always mean filling the full vertical frame. It can also be cutting the frame, yeah? And telling your story in pieces. Like here, it's beautifully done here.
Yeah, but this is all also like important to think, yeah, why do we need the split screen, for instance, yeah, to use it intentionally? Because sometimes I remember I've noticed a vertical film, and it was like a one vertical film, but it was made out of 4 or 5 horizontal pieces, all the same. But and they did it because they didn't have vertical footage. But what was great, it made this film even more amazing. I was surprised, and I realized, wow, it looks really cool. It's eye-catchy. It grabs my attention, and it was telling the same story as horizontal. I don't want to encourage you to do this, but only want to say to be open with the way you think, the way you treat this vertical space. It can be challenging, but at the same time, I believe it's more interesting.
Yeah, and sometimes simple solutions like splitting the screen can work beautifully. Yeah.
And as for the topic, maybe this way of showing the story is more natural for people who are would consider doing a story about the NGOs, because it's something that's really relevant to them, and it's really something that they feel, and it's easier for them to use this more classic approach with documentary film, or something that's really linear or just tells a story in a very simple way. And this is really good as well. If it fits the idea and it fits the topic, it can be like, it doesn't have to be all sparks and whistles. It can be something that's really straight to the point.
Yeah, if we are telling a real story, for example, of a refugee, because one of our NGOs is Cucinate, is taking care of African refugees who travel to Israel. So, for example, if we tell a story of such refugee, we don't need to use a lot of gimmicks and a lot of technical, flashy things, yeah, and add-ons. We can just tell the story because sometimes the story is so powerful that we can just tell it the way it is. So we are not against that. We just encourage you to look beyond that, yeah. And maybe this simple story can be also told in reverse, or with splitting the screen, or with interactivity. But yeah, we are not against just simple storytelling as well, if you feel that the idea is strong enough. And maybe one thing more that we want to say at the end, because last year we also noticed that a lot of our young directors were shooting with real cameras, professional cameras, and it's okay. We are not saying no to this, but if you would like to shoot on your phone, by any means you can. And this is just one of the examples we are showing right now. It's an ad for Apple, which was entirely shot on iPhone, and it looks brilliant. Yeah. So why not? If you feel like you would like to shoot with iPhone, or with any other phone, please do. Yeah, don't restrict yourself just to heavy and professional equipment.
Because sometimes phone can be more handy and easier to use, especially if there is something like, especially with the real stories, because you can travel with it, you can just take it wherever you go and go with it wherever you want, almost. And there are some places who just take your phone before you enter. But then this is more likely to go through with the camera in your phone than with the big array on your arm. So this is really not only from the technical point of view, but really from the, you know, what's possible to do.
Yeah, I can't agree more that with the phone you can go anywhere, yeah, and you can film something that couldn't be filmed with the huge equipment. So yeah, maybe if your idea is a documentary style film, then using a phone would work, yeah, and then you can film something that you would not be able to film otherwise. But even, you know, a stage film like this one, it's also shot on iPhone, and it looks great, yeah. And this is a staged, proper film.
And this is great. What I would like to add also, because, you know, if it comes to this particular film, it plays amazingly with this vertical framing, because, you know, all the camera movement is up and down, zoom in, zoom out. There is no like a panning to the side. Yeah, so this is like the way you can treat this challenging, or I could call it interesting vertical format.
Yeah, think vertically about the frames.
So I feel that we should show the Roberto's movie at the end as a sum up, because it tells it all. So I hope you were with us throughout our ups and downs, and you saw some really cool stuff that inspired you, because we're waiting for the ideas for the Papaya Young Directors competition only until the end of this week. So there's still time to prepare an idea and to describe it to us and send it, because this is really great opportunity for you not only to show off your talent, but especially for the women's stories category. There is a place for you to just stand up for the important issue and tell a story about something that's maybe not said before, not only from the commercial side point of view, but from the social side of view as well. So this is your chance to do both. Show off yourself and do something really important. And the sum up by Roberto Cura.
Sum up by Roberto. Why should we film vertically?
What is better, this or that? Any questions? Here's your chance. Ask away. How would you rate this thing? I have something important to tell you. Hi. But above all, be authentic. So, where are we going today? Love that jacket. Honestly, I'd love to have that jacket.
Yes, just play it on repeat and think about an interesting, engaging, hopefully interactive ideas that you can put on screen and, you know, win, because this is what it's all about. Win and do something that's really stands out. Thank you so much for being here, Gosia, Robert, and Roberto. I believe we did prepare important bunch of films of inspirations for the young filmmakers that hopefully will use it and prepare something that's better than whatever we show you.
Yes, and please just be authentic, like Roberto said, and show us something that we don't know yet and that wasn't done before, and use your authentic real voice to tell your story, because that's a competition where you can do it. You don't need to be so precise with what the brand wants. And maybe it's the only possibility like this, because in a commercial world, you have more restraints for sure than in this competition. So please use the freedom you have and do something really unexpected and groundbreaking. We are waiting for films like that.
Yeah, and we are waiting until 14th of March.
And if I can add, please don't be scared of vertical format, because the audience is really huge for this format, and it grows every day. It grows.
Okay, so thank you again, and see you all soon. 14th of March.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Bye bye.